Good morning, Chairman Cummings, Ranking Member Jordan, and distinguished members of this committee. When I was asked to testify today, I frankly didn't know where to begin after our visit to the border. Much has been made about the fact that we have said that this is a manufactured crisis. And in many ways, it is manufactured in that it is wholly unnecessary. It is unnecessary to separate children from their families. It is unnecessary to have a policy to detain innocent women and families that have harmed no person and are legally seeking asylum in the United States of America. It is unnecessary to have a policy that calls children unaccompanied when they arrive with older brothers, sisters, and grandparents and treat them no differently than human traffickers. And in speaking of trafficking, it is completely unnecessary for this administration to choose to implement policies like metering and so-called Remain in Mexico policies that dump innocent people in dangerous territories that puts them right in the crosshairs of human traffickers, ripe for picking. This is a manufactured crisis because the cruelty is manufactured. This is a manufactured crisis because there is no need for us to do this. There's no need for us to overcrowd and to detain and under-resource. There is no need for us to arrest innocent people and treat them no differently than criminals when they are pursuing their basic human rights. Much has been made about CBP agents in this hearing as well, and this is not their fault. And in some respects, in many respects, I agree, because it is a policy of dehumanization implemented by this executive administration, laid at the feet of Stephen Miller, that creates a tinderbox of violence and dehumanization where hurt people hurt people. I would like to seek unanimous consent to submit the records of the names of 17 women I met during my trip to the border. I think one of the reasons, and what has been spoken of, is that there's two different universes, and it feels like we're speaking in two different worlds. And one of the reasons for that, I believe, is because when we took our tour of the border, one of the first things that we were told was that we were not allowed to speak to the migrants, that we were not allowed to have contact with them, that we shouldn't. And this was given for reasons of, quote, their safety or reasons for the expediency of the tour. And after we entered and after we were asked to surrender our cell phones at the beginning of the tour, we went in, and one of the CBP officers, after that morning, it being revealed by ProPublica, which I would also seek unanimous consent to submit to the record. While it was revealed by ProPublica, a secret Facebook group where CBP members were planning to harm or encouraging harm of myself and Congresswoman Escobar, as well as mocking the deaths of migrant children. Into that environment, we walked into this facility. We were asked to surrender our phones and be guarded by the people without a guarantee that no one there was in that Facebook group. We went in, and one of the officers attempted to sneak a photograph of myself and other congressional members. And at that point, we asked to enter one of the cells. We were allowed to speak to the women, and these are the women that we spoke to. It's their handwriting. And while we are being asked to speak only to officers, we are not getting the accounts of migrants, of their treatment, of what they are experiencing. And so when these women tell me that they were put into a cell and that their sink was not working, and we tested the sink ourselves, and the sink was not working, and they were told to drink out of a toilet bowl, I believed them. I believed these women. I believed the canker sores that I saw in their mouths because they were only allowed to be fed unnutritious food. I believed them when they said they were sleeping on concrete floors for 2 months. I believed them. And what was worse about this, Mr. Chairman, was the fact that there were American flags hanging all over these facilities, that children were being separated from their parents in front of an American flag, that women We're being called these names under an American flag. We cannot allow for this. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I know my time was wrapping up at that time, so and again, we have to make sure that, and over again, when we spoke to these folks, whether it was agents, whether it was HHS officials, oftentimes they said the thing that we need most is not resources, we need policy change. So we need to change our metering policies. We need to change our detention policies. We need to change our policies on who we call unaccompanied. And that is one of the key areas, in addition to changing our policy on foreign affairs, on investment, on being an equal partner in Latin America and the Western Hemisphere. Thank you very much.